Have you ever experienced something so crippling in your life that has made you feel broken? I have. Are you someone who has a giving heart but is struggling to feel good themselves? Are you consistently putting your needs aside to take care of everyone else? If so, you're not alone. Giving starts with giving to yourself so that you are able to give of yourself to other people. Isn't it time you took back control and discovered what makes you tick? Join me in my journey and find out how you can feel better about yourself, live your best life, and share that with others. Thinking of yourself, it doesn't make you selfish, it makes you brave. I'm Nelia, and this is the Giving Starts With You podcast. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Giving Starts With You podcast. Thank you again for joining us and being part of this journey with me. Today, I am very, very excited to have a new friend join. Her name is Kimberley Chapman. Thank you so much. And I know that you're going to offer so much value today, and I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn a lot. And I know our audience is going to learn a lot. So, Kimberley has overcome many various forms of abuse. She has gone on a journey and discovered many things along the way that has helped her transform her life and become the best version of herself. And now she wants to help other people do the same, which is so great. She has become an intuitive, transmedium life transformational coach that is on a mission to awaken, enlighten, and transform others to become the best version of themselves so that they can live their best life now. Life is too short. I love this. You need to do it now. So thank you so much.
Well, I've been through many types of abuse, from emotional, financial, mental, sexual, spiritual, verbal, mental. I've been through it all. And did it suck? Yes, it did. But in that journey and experiencing all of that, I've gained knowledge and wisdom and understanding why. And it's a part of the connection of who I am and why I'm here. And a lot of times there is a misconception about who we are and why we are here. And it has to do with mental programming, limited beliefs, and emotional, energetic traumas. And at one point in my life, I was in my second marriage, which was very abusive. And we already had 2 kids. This is my second marriage. I had 1 kid from my first one, which was very abusive, and it got even physical. Got a finding after one day of having an upright vacuum cleaner swung at me like a baseball bat and diving onto a couch like I was going for a home run for a World Series. I said, if he could do that, what else is he capable of doing? Am I going to wind up dead? He could have paralyzed me in that moment. And I said, I can't do that. We have a little girl. She needs me. I walked away.
Wow, it takes a lot of courage.
It does, but you have that moment, like when you can get common sense to work, use your intuition, it's there for you to help you against harm. And I think there's some, with all the abuse, especially with women, you succumb to being that victim mentality. It becomes a limited belief. It becomes a mental programming, and it emotionally, energetically affects you. It affects every aspect of your body, the biochemistry in your body. And then you wind up living in the past every day.
Yeah, because your abuser, that's what they want. They want to, grind you down to the point where, you forget what is really important. You forget what you stand for. They want to make you weak. That's the whole point of control,
Oh,
right?
yes. But then think about this. Look at your family's generation. their cycles, those patterns. If I come to realize in my family line, there was abuse, many forms of abuse, and it just trailed on to me to where I was experiencing it subconsciously, not understanding why am I going through this?
And why am I allowing this to happen?
Yes, because of what we're taught to believe. Especially, I'm not a religious person. I got out of it because of what I realize now. Control, manipulation, power over the mass. And then you look at it individually, it was taught, the man is the head of the house, he's the breadwinner. And in looking at the generations of my family, it was the men worked, they came home, they expected, it was you provided as a wife the hot meals, make sure the house is clean, you take care of the kids. There's already division, there's no unity really. And then once,
Or you're less
yeah,
than.
and no equality. But to be honest, we're all connected. We're spiritual beings. We are God in a different form, a different color, a different gender. We are a spiritual being that's connected to this wonderful, amazing, greater intelligence, divine source. But we've been taught that we're separate from that. You have to work towards that.
So, Kimberly, if I could just ask you a question. So, I know it's quite often, we were talking about this earlier. Um, Quite often, we give ourselves value and we believe what other people say we are. And we believe what other people think we are, knowing somewhere deep inside that we're none of those things. But when people tell you, you're stupid enough, you believe it. When people tell you you're not good enough, you believe it. So that's what we call limiting beliefs.
Yes, that's part of it.
How does somebody start to not give power to those outside things that are controlling what we think?
Well, growing up, especially as a child, and your parents could have been negative because of their upbringing and their beliefs, and all they're doing is reenacting it, reliving it, and then they're projecting it onto you. So if they don't have a self-esteem, confidence, you know, you have to go to work, get, go to school, get good grades, and get a good job. That's been taught. So you start believing that's how life is. You have to do all these things. Um, and then when you do get religion, because you have to be this certain way, you should speak this way, you should dress this way. It's a program, and you being young, being told all that stuff, you accept it because you're young. These are adults, they're your parents, they're your elders, pastors, preachers, and whatnot. So you have no idea really what's the truth. But I even question certain things, and you just accept that as truth because there's no one else there to tell you the difference except for your inner knowing. But who educates you on your intuition and your inner knowing of discerning what is truth? We do have the truth in us and the answers in us, but we're not taught that. So you go along in life accepting that, you lose your identity of who you are in the
Absolutely.
process. And that is, I think, that the biggest problem today, and even with our younger generation, because they got a compilation like us of all that limited belief programming, emotional energetic traumas. And then you wonder why they're dealing with anxiety, depression, and all that. It's all energy that's been passed down for centuries, generations back.
And it's like even the simple things like, okay, you go to school and you have to do it in this order. So you go to school, you find a girlfriend, you get married, you have children, you have a job, all these things, right? When it's like, you don't need to get
No,
married. You don't need to have children if you don't want that. You don't need to go to corporate America and get that job. What's wrong with finding something, a different means of income and traveling the world and meeting people? And like, what happened to all these other things? Like, you really need to dig in and find out what passion you have.
find yourself. And it's this program has been going on for so long. I think now that things are shifting and changing, and we're in a process of awakening from that program. It's like being in a matrix of some sorts, and my journey after my second marriage, I finally said, you know what in the world is going on? Is this it? Is this just how I'm supposed to live my life, like this? Or is there something more to life than what I'm experiencing, because I've had enough? Why am I here? To put up with this? If there's more to life than this, show me. And that's when I was being vulnerable, and I desired the truth, because I was done with religion. I was done with what I was experiencing. And I had two girls, and I was thinking, oh my God, what kind of example am I setting up for their life, of what kind of man they're going to attract, or a woman? To me, it doesn't matter, what gender you're in a relationship with. Now that I know what I know, it really doesn't matter. It's love.
As long as you have respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I had to find, in that process of finding myself, I truly did not know what love was. It's a program. We have this conceptual knowledge about love based on what we're told, based on what we read, in the religion, in what I call the Bible, and then what your parents teach you. And to me, that's conditional love. But true love is unconditional. There is no rules, there's no regulations, there's no expectations. And then when I finally got to experience that kind of love, it changed my world. It's inside of us. And the best way to experience it is by expressing it when it feels like you're in bliss. It's like an euphoric, orgasmic ecstasy. And once you feel that and go through that, you look at life differently. You look at
It's
people.
so much nicer, isn't it?
It's
It's
oh my
just,
God. I like, I try to be in that state of being. My perspectives and my concepts of, we have it all wrong. Man, everybody should be feeling this way. Oh my God, if we felt like this all day long, every day, there would be more peace on earth. Heaven is on earth. That's the thing.
I love that.
Heaven is what we create.
Heaven is on earth. It's true.
And it's like it would. And I think it's because of that programming and what we're taught about love and who we should be and how we should act and what we should do. It has separated us from who we truly are, being our authentic selves. So in order to become our authentic selves, we have to become a whole new person.
Or discover who that person. Yeah, exactly. I mean, parts of us, I think, I do agree with that, but I also agree with you do become a completely different person, but I think you have it in there somewhere, already. It's just,
Waiting to come out, and that's what's going on. Because
yeah.
when you're feeling anxiety, guess what? That is your soul and spirit trying to tell you and communicate with you. Because when you're, it's Dr. Joe Dispenza. He is one of my mentors. And he says, what you think, what you feel, and what you do, you create a personality. When you do that so repetitiously, it becomes your personal reality. And then Greg Braden talks about, he's another mentor. We have prayer all wrong. Prayer, both of them, Dr. Joe Dispenza and Greg Braden, speak about prayer and our body. Prayer is a feeling. It's not so much of words, it's the feeling,
I
that
agree with that.
emotion and energy that you create. And he says the body is the language, uh, words are the feeling is the body to the language, and then words or thought is the language to the mind. Don't quote, I don't know if that's the accurate, but when I'm trying to think about it,
Yes.
I'm like, wait, is it the language to the? It is. It is the feeling and the emotions and the energy that we create. We are creators. So if you don't like, and that's one thing, if you don't like the experience, then you have the power, you have the control to change it. But then you have all those limited beliefs, all those mental programmings, and all the emotional energetic traumas that have been compiled. You have no idea of the compilation of all that stuff that's already in you. So it's like peeling the layers off an onion to get to your true self and change
Yeah, because otherwise you feel trapped.
be aware of what you're thinking. Is it you're thinking in the past? Are you thinking from limited beliefs, from what you've been told? The thing is, Dr. Joe Vitale says, ask a question, question everything. Tony Robbins even talks about it. So if you really want to know the truth, go inward to your higher self to show you all the BS that you've compiled on. And then it's like one at a time, and you'll go through like little triggers. And those triggers, don't react, pause. Say, oh, pay attention, because that trigger is your opportunity to heal from that emotional and mental and all that garbage. And then you just say, oh, I remember. This is from that no longer helps me in my future. So I'm going to take that emotion, energy, bless it, and let it go.
I love that. Because, we have to take some responsibility for this. Because I see, you know, it's like a movie. Sometimes I'm people watching,
Mm-hmm.
and I see all these bodies and there's no souls anymore. And I see all these bodies walking around, and to me, they look like one person could be the next person, could be the next person. Do you know what, does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like, I feel
absolutely. It's
like
like they're
people
running around
aren't,
being robots. Because
yeah, like people aren't in tune.
uh-huh.
Yeah, they're not in tune, and they feel trapped. But once somebody introduces that, like you're introducing some of the audience today, right? So once somebody introduces you to a possibility that there's something else out there for you, wow. Like, there are no boundaries
No,
then.
we
It's
are
like,
limitless. We are limitless. It just we've been so programmed because government and religion. I'm right now studying the history of that because I believe in the timelines. We're still repeating history between all the wars and that's emotional energetic traumas. Like if you look at your ancestors, your great great grandfather and great 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 grandmother, they experienced some of those wars. That emotion and the energy and the suppression, oppression, guess what? Hello, look around, it's still going on. It's just a different time period. So if you can look at things as an observer now, wake up and say, okay, you have to look at your own past, your own generation stuff, and you start connecting the dots. That's what helps awaken you to realize, oh, shit, I'm living in my generational's past emotional, mental, and beliefs too. And it's hindering me from becoming what you start to recognize a part of you that's wanting to come out, to be transformed into that person you wanted to be in the origination of your creation.
Yeah, I love it's like we're all, not all of us, but a lot of us, a lot of human beings I find are silently screaming.
Oh, believe me, I feel it.
You know, like the silence to me is so deafening sometimes. And just the people need to open their minds, I think, and wonder what else is there. You know, you don't have to follow in everybody's footsteps.
No, you
Don't
don't.
have to, you know, and maybe that is the choice that you make and it's a good choice for you, but for most people, you do need to go away from the common path and discover so many things out there who you are in the world. People keep saying the world is so big. I don't think so.
No,
I don't think it's very
very
big at
small
all.
compared to other dimensions. And here's another thing: we've been in a three-dimensional aspect, but even the Earth, but the Earth, and we're connected to it. We are connected to this planet. Everything is of energy, but we've been crying out and screaming out for change and change. Well, guess what? The law of the universe is making it happen. You might not like how it's happening, but
Mm.
in order for the old and the programming and all that stuff that is broken, corrupted, and doesn't serve our purpose anymore, it has to die and then be removed and open the space for the new to come in. But you got to have discernment on that and recognize what the changes are and whatnot. And I believe that that's why some of the things that are happening now is we have no other choice but, because if we don't, this is going to keep replaying itself and keep happening, and then we're going to suffer even more, and there's no reason for it. But it's up to us to
They're here
wake
to
up
teach us. Hmm.
and recognize, and then we have the power to unite together, to work together, to make things transform into the better for all. It can't be no more control and greed and manipulation. That's why some things are being exposed now, being
So I know that I want to hear your take on um, the trans from the womb to birth. Like you believe that what we feel when the baby is in the womb can be
okay.
transformed to outside, like in our lives. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I love talking about this. And I heard this from Greg Braden because I started recognizing generational stuff of abuse in, my mom's side of the family. And I started questioning, I'm like, well, then why am I attracting this? And it started opening up. Well, your mother and then your grandmother, and then you got, I don't know much about some of the abuse on my dad's side of the family, but then looking about, you know, one of my grandmothers got married at 14 and had 6 kids because that's what they're taught, barefoot and pregnant kind of thing mentality. Um, but then Greg Braden said something, and he goes, emotional energetic trauma is energy. Now think about this. When you're a mom, when you become pregnant, everything you experience and go through creates an emotion, a feeling, and an energy too. So whatever you're experiencing, this baby's experiencing too, but has no idea of what's happening. It just feels it. That's why when you go to your doctors for your checkups. They say, eliminate stress, reduce stress. They're always talking about, try to stay away from stress, because when you're stressed, baby stress. And look at these younger generation kids now. And if you're in an abusive relationship, guess what? Baby's already being programmed. It's passing that, it's energy, it's emotions and feelings. And we're carrying our children, they're going through it too, but they have no idea what it is that they're going through. But they're holding on to that emotion, that feeling, and that energy. And then when they come through, just like we come through our mother's womb, and then this is the question I ask. Well, my mother was in her mother's womb, and then her mother was in her. How far back does this stuff go?
And what were they going through at that moment?
And that's where you have to really do your research on the history of those time periods. You're going to start connecting the dots. See, my family was brought up poor because of their generational, mental limited beliefs and whatnot, and it just carried on to me. And I was like, oh, I don't want to live that lifestyle. That's theirs. I want to live my life. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to have to get a job and that's it. What is that? What life's really about? And then I started seeing all these successful people, and I'm like, well, man, they're living a good life. I want to live that kind of life. I didn't want to do what they were doing, but I wanted to have that luxury
Feeling
to where I had that financial freedom. I could do whatever I want. If I wanted to start a business or I wanted to create my own career, I was in control. I didn't like, and I think in our inner beings, we don't, it's like being a slave.
It's like your life is already planned out for you before you even know your name. It's
Yes.
just
And that's where that emotional
crazy.
And human beings today, they're stressed. They're working just for paycheck to paycheck, and they're not even doing what they love to do. And then you got some that have been to college, got student loans, and they're doing a job that they don't like.
They hate.
They're miserable.
I think as parents, it's our responsibility to tell our children, look, you don't have to when you grow up, you don't have to do the things you think I want for you. I want you to be happy. You can be happy in any job. You want to be a garbage man, but you're happy at it, do it. Mm-hmm. If you want to, be the president, but you think you're going to love it, do it. Like if you're going to, whatever it is that you choose, do it because of the feeling it gives you. Not because I've told you that you need to be this and you need to be that.
And that is one of the root to our problems. The solution is change the program.
Find your connection.
Absolutely. And I have learned to tell my kid, like I have 3 beautiful daughters, and I've told, look, this is your life. This is your journey. You got to experience things in life to discover who you are. And I've even taken responsibility. I'm so sorry because of my programming and my BS, my limited beliefs, programming, and emotional energy, it transferred onto you. And I'm so sorry. I want you to be free from all that. Start living your life on your terms. Experience life in order to know what it is that you want to do and what makes you happy. You are the only one in control of your own happiness, nobody else.
And what a gift, what a gift to give them and to give to yourself. Like on this podcast, we talk a lot about, what is the gift that you gave yourself that changed how you felt about yourself? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what a wonderful gift, not only to give to your daughters, but to give to yourself and to teach the people that you're teaching, because you only get one shot.
You chose to come here for a reason. I didn't find out until my late 40s who I was and why I was here, what my purpose is. My purpose is here is to take all the knowledge and the wisdom that I learned and my experience in order to help awaken human society. Human society was not created to exist like it does now. We've been lied to,
Completely agree.
we've been deceived, and there's things that have been hidden that are now being exposed. And I'm going to just share it. I'm not here to persuade anybody or convince. I'm here to help you think outside that box. Go on your own. I'm here to help and guide. That's it. And then discover who you are and why you are here, because we're all partakers. We came here for a reason. What is it? What is your partake in helping make a difference and an impact in this world to help our planet, to help society? The ones that have been controlling and manipulating and using their power to abuse that power, that has to change. And there's some of us that are going to step up and go against that to change that. And we all have to come together in order to realize that's what's been happening in order for it to change. We have the power.
And I think those people that are doing the manipulating and are doing the controlling are people that are very unhappy and they haven't discovered it yet.
They're programmed as well. And they're feeding off that, because when you get to that programming and so familiar with it, your body knows it better than you do, your mind, it does change the biochemistry. And then that's when you're so familiar to it's like an addicted drug. That's why, like, positive attracts positive, negative attracts negative. So when you're constantly being negative and you change that biochemistry, I guarantee you're going to attract more negative experiences. You're going to stay that way until you decide to wake up and say, enough of this shit.
And then you're wondering, why is my life so miserable?
And people they love being miserable, but they want misery loves company kind of statement. Mm-hmm. They want to, get you to be miserable. And there's like this, I call them energy vampires, because I'm so positive. And then when I get around a few negative people, it's like they're sucking my energy out. And then I wind up being drained.
But like you said, you weren't always like that. This is something you said, enough of feeling this way.
Yeah.
You had to make that change. You had to want that. It's like what you said about you're not here to persuade people. You can't persuade people, because if you're not ready, you're not ready. Yeah. Like, you'll find a moment in your life. For me, it was the moment that my dad died. That changed everything in the way I felt about myself. And I was like, life is just too short. I know people say that all the time, but the way that I thought about things, the way that I looked at things, the things that I argued about and didn't argue about just didn't matter. Everything had changed. So that was my moment that I said, is this all there is? Everybody has that moment.
And when I'm feeling your father's presence right now. It was the perfect opportunity for you to wake up. What if that was divine timing? See, in being a soul,
not only that, but I was pregnant. I was 4 months pregnant with my son, and I had been trying for about 10 years. And I got pregnant as my father got sick. And honestly, my son is so much like my dad in so many ways.
Yeah.
And I feel like saved my life. If I had not, like, I hate to say that because that's not my son's job, but I feel like God gave me that moment, that he gave me my son at that moment because I needed that. I don't think I would have survived if I had not been paying attention to something other than Do you know what I'm
Yes, I
saying?
do, but can I enlighten you
Of course.
Okay. We're all spiritual beings. Now, when the soul's ready to go home, there's nothing you can do. It wants to go. It doesn't care about the body that it's in. And there is I thank your father in spirit. I'm getting hit when I say this. Oh, okay. Um, your father knew that you were going to be pregnant with your son, and he chose to leave in order to help. And also, his soul is connected to your son. Or
I do believe
okay,
that.
so it's like a reincarnation because your father didn't have the opportunity to do something in his lifetime. So he chose to say, you know what? I want to do it through him.
Mm.
What if he had another chance to come back and he used you in order to do it, to create this son? So he doesn't know it right now, but deep inside, and if you keep opening your son up and recognizing the gifts that he has, passions that spark up in him, guide your son to that, because it's connected with your father to be able to have another chance to do something good, to solve an issue.
I have seen that already.
Okay, so this is confirmation and validation, because I'm getting hits in the spirit realm of things, and it's like he's speaking through me to tell you.
Yeah, it's
And if you're
yeah, there are a lot of similarities.
if you're recognizing it, then I'm speaking truth.
There are a lot of similarities, and my father passed away at 7, and my son was born at 7. Like my dad, just yeah, it was just yeah, it's a beautiful thing, but at the same time, I think of all the things you said about being in the womb and everything, and I went through a lot at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And my son is highly sensitive, just like me, and I do believe that these things, you feel them in your body and they're passed along.
But
I
guess,
completely believe that.
but guess what? When you heal yourself, you heal your son.
I believe that too, because that also happened.
Yep. So it's there's so many connections. I'm like getting goosebumps.
Thank you for that, because I do agree with that. I can see all the different things that you're saying.
That's I'm just the messenger to enlighten and awaken, so people can start healing. And because we're in that transformation from going 3-dimensional to dimensional, and there's more dimensions. The more we evolve, we can, and the planet evolves for the better and whatnot, we're going to shift and elevate to higher frequencies and higher dimensions. It's so huge, it's like mind-boggling but fascinating, and sounds a little crazy, but it's like amazing at the same time. It's all like all those wrapped up into one.
I really appreciate this, because I'm in the middle of writing a memoir. And what you had just talked about actually just gave me a thought
Uh-huh.
of a little bit of a chapter that I've been struggling to write, and some of the things you said just kind of connected it for me. So,
Yes, this was a divine appointment to help you with your book.
so, so I appreciate that, because there was a chapter I was having a little bit of difficulty with, but I've just gotten some clarity. So I appreciate that very
You're so
much.
welcome. It's synchronicities. There's synchronicities in every aspect of our lives. Because if you read, I got a book for you to read, and it might help you along on the way.
Hmm.
The Celestine Prophecy.
Sorry, what is it?
Celestine Prophecy. It's Celestine prophecy. It talks about energy. It talks about how people will come into your life and give you a message, and then you'll have a message for them. It's a synchronicity to help you along your journey. your path in life, and to help human society to evolve at a higher, more vibration, and it changes our
Purpose, everything, who we
who our
are.
existences and the planet for the better. You want to talk about peace on earth when we can all connect, and that's my mission, is because I already saw the vision of us evolving to the point that we even look a little different. We're bright, we're elevating, we're at a higher frequency, and we're connected to the planet. The colors are brighter.
It's funny that you say that because honestly, I just wrote a chapter about how because you were saying heaven
Here
is,
on earth. Yeah.
and I was talking about how I view heaven now after this has happened to me. And it talks about, in the book, it talks about how everything is enhanced. So the
Mm-hmm.
colors, like everything that you're saying is something that I have felt as well. And I put it a little differently, where this wasn't heaven, that being here is hell, and that heaven to me is different. And I have my own reasons for that, but I do see things as being enhanced and changing and being transitional, and just everything. Like, I know this sounds
No,
quirky.
it doesn't. It's so
When you walk on grass, it's almost like I feel like this peace. So when there's finally peace in the world, and we all can accept everybody and be treated as equal, and because COVID, for example, did not discriminate between age, sex, color, nothing.
mm-mm.
It's a global, doesn't matter, right? So I almost feel like when we get to that, we'll know it'll hit, and like we'll be walking on grass, and all of a sudden you can smell the freshly cut grass.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at something, you can feel the colors, you can see it's just gonna be so apparent, and everything's gonna be sort of like right now. I feel like the world is like behind glaucoma. Like, do you know what I mean?
There's a
And then
veil. But guess what?
yes,
During this transformation, everything, the veil's getting thinner and thinner and
yes, that's how
thinner.
I feel. It's
And
just like a film.
yeah. And when you talk about heaven and hell, this is what I've come to through my own questioning, my own research, and my studying, and what I've experienced. There is no such thing as hell. There is no such thing as Satan. The duality of good and evil. There's labeling, but it's just an experience. If it doesn't feel good, then don't do it.
Yes.
But we're taught that, and it was created. And now that I think about it, I'm like, well, wow, that was a splendid plan in order for us to get to where we are right now, to awaken, to shift. But it was all a program to be able to create control, manipulation, and there was greed involved, and fear, to put fear. The opposite of love is fear. And then there's hate and all the other negative stuff. But with love, yeah, love is love. It's unconditional. There's no rules. And if we are created in God's image, and we are God's, in essence of God in a human being, why in the world would he create a hell to put himself in?
Hmm. For the people listening out there, what would be, and somebody new to this journey, what would be a simple, actionable, easy first step to them being more open to realizing that their life is more than just what it is?
By asking the first question, who am I? And why am I here? What is
Mm.
my purpose? And
And it's a big question, and it's going to take some time to figure it out, but it's so worth
it
it.
is. It
Why not invest in yourself?
and understand who you, like, that's part of the understanding of who you are, because we've been lied to, we've been deceived, we've been
And why
manipulated.
wouldn't you want to know? Why wouldn't you want to figure it out? Like, there's no negative to it.
No, it's a journey, it's an adventure. And see, here's the hold on, I want to get a note that I took. And then, you know, if everything's of energy and then you got all this negative and the stress and all that stuff, energy does turn into matter. It becomes a physical form. So I think there is, and this is science that will back me up with this. You could go do your own research on it. But that is because when you live in stress and survival mode 24/7, we're not created. Our bodies are not created to be in that state 24/7. So something has to happen. So then you get the sicknesses and the disease. But we can change that. We have the power to change that. We have the power to heal ourselves. But if you're stuck in that program and those beliefs and those emotional energetic traumas, it's not going to work. But if you, it's like the placebo effect. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about in his book, and breaking the habit of being yourself, evolving your brain. It's science now. I was a massage therapist and I learned so much about my body and energy, the Reiki, the Eastern hemisphere is so well advanced in knowledge about this stuff than we are in the Western. They think it's new age or it's the works of the Satan, and it's not, it's science.
We're learning as we go.
Yeah. And it's amazing to me about the history of science, even back in those times. I talk about astrology, astronomy, geography, geometry, and all that existed back in those days. And then you have spirituality, awareness, and consciousness, and you know, the cosmos and the stars and the planets. We're all connected to that. We have been all along, but there's been manuscripts and contexts taken out. Why? And there's graphs, there's from the Egyptian times, the Mayans, and the Aztec calendar with the Adamu calendar, and there's history that will validate and confirm that their drawings, because before it was written, they drew.
Yeah, we are such a part of a bigger picture.
But we have been taught to think so small-minded, and to be taught to think a
Yes.
certain way, one way, their way. Don't even question, because if you questioned, then you were persecuted. You either experienced death, tortured, and they did that back in history. To convert into the religion, if you didn't convert, they punished you. That's not God. God doesn't do that shit. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one thing when you said, you know, how to begin and whatnot.
Yes.
Oh, the grass is greener on the other side from where I'm standing, okay? And it's like from my second marriage, on my journey, is like, who am I? Why am I here? How do I fix this? How do I have a life I truly desire and want? Where do I begin? How do I start? And where do I go from here now? And then when things will show up, things, data, information, signs, synchronicities will start to show up. When you're truly, your soul, your spirit is ready, it will guide you. And just
Yep.
ask a question everything on your way of being enlightened, informed, to where you can transform and become a new and best version of yourself, and you will start living your best life now. I want to teach
Absolutely.
and educate people on this, but I also want to um, on the money beliefs, the money relationships. And we're taught you have to work hard for money. No, The rich teach the rich to work smart, not hard. So I want to definitely educate people. I'm learning a few things now, but it's like, oh my God, why can't I learn this stuff? Why didn't they teach this in schools? I'd be a millionaire by
Mm,
now.
I know they should do a course too.
Well, yeah, not so much a course, but be affiliate with people, the experts that already have the courses available. But I want to master the course first myself so I can be an example to be able to lead and teach others. Like, look, if I could do this, you can too. And just get if you could get the basic understanding of how to work smart with your money and learn a new skill. We have to learn a new skill.
Hmm. I think we need to learn how to question ourselves. I think there should be a course in school, though, that is called something like, what else is there?
Change our lifestyle, to change, because it has to die. And open space for new information, new skills, so it helps you along your journey and having that life that we're all able to have and capable of.
I agree with what you said about, see, okay, so for example, in my life, things have shown up, opportunities and things, but only after I was open to analyzing what do I want for my life. These things started showing up.
Synchronicities.
They didn't show up until I was ready for them.
Yes, that is very key. So your intuition is kicking in, and it's going to get stronger the more you pay attention and use that skill. The better you get at it, and then you're so intuitive and you have sharper discernment. They didn't teach us that. Our parents didn't teach us about our intuition and the inner knowing and stuff like that. That wasn't taught.
And not from a place of anything bad, just they didn't know.
No. And honestly, religion doesn't teach that either. It's, you have to try, pray and have faith and believe. Well, in order for you to, we are creators. Now, if you like, hey, I would like to get this new job, or this amount of money, or this partner, or whatever that you want to experience, that you create in your thought idea, you have to put a feeling and emotion and energy into it, and then believe as if you already have it, the belief. And I have read the Bible. There are certain aspects and certain ways that if you can discern the writing and whatnot, and ask your higher self, what does this mean? I don't understand, this doesn't sound right. It'll show you, your higher self will show you. And I think it was the way they written it. It's, you have to have faith and believe you can, but they didn't share the aspect of, you have to already feel it, experience it in visualizing with what I call the third eye, the pineal gland. There's a connection to your intuition and visualization. If you can picture yourself already experiencing, like, create your future self, or your
Do you
future.
believe like do you believe in like vision boards and things like that then?
Yes, I do. I have my own digital, but now I have to constantly change it. So it's like, because you change your mind, and the universe is like, okay, make up your mind. What is it that you want? Did you want the red car? Or first you wanted the blue car. Now you want the red car, make up your mind. And it's waiting. But it's funny, the moment you think about the car you want, they start showing up as you're driving around. And I just like, yeah, that's my car. I want blue. That's my car, but I want blue. And it has only other features. That one doesn't. So my car does. have the features that I want in it. So
If
that's
you're
like,
open to it, it'll come.
yeah. And I just like, oh, wow, my new car smells so good. I'm driving my other car, but when I get in my car, I think I'm driving my Cadillac. I want a Cadillac SUV. And it's dark metallic blue. It has gray interior. It has a little screen in the middle, and heated seats. And when I want some heat, and I think I want to get a massage thing in the back, kind of thing for my back when I'm driving. The seat has to be a certain way so where I'm comfortable when I'm driving, not uncomfortable when I'm driving. So I play it in my mind every day when I get in my car. Then my house, my kitchen, when I have this little place right now that I'm in, but when I'm cooking and my thing, I think and see in my mind's eye of the kitchen that I'm cooking in. I'm visualizing my future self being where I want to be in order for it to, the law of attraction, to manifest it and bring it to me in my reality, my physical reality. It's in the spirit realm. I'm just thinking about it. I'm living it as if I'm already in it. And then boom, the spiritual reality and the physical reality manifests. It takes time. It's divine timing, synchronicities of the laws of the universe, lining everything up for what you created in your thought, feeling, and emotions and energy, and what you're doing to bring it to you.
And attach a feeling to it always.
Yeah, but then you attach the emotion and then you let it go as if I'm already doing it, but I'm practicing what it's going to be like when it does, when I'm physically in it. So I'm practicing, I'm rehearsing my future self of what I'm doing.
Yeah, because if you can't envision it, then you can't see it. You can't see it.
No, but you could see it in here. That's why when you dream big. And then I envision, like, I already started a podcast, my own podcast. I'm creating an internet TV talk show so I could get these scientists and these, inspirational speakers on my show to validate, and even like history, archaeologists and earth scientists and whatnot. So I can help even educate and awaken other people, like, hey, did you even know about this? I've got so-and-so that studied da-da-da-da, and presented to help others wake up and think outside the box, that in order to help them understand. So I'm already rehearsing what I say, my topics, who I want on my show, and putting everything together. I've already started my podcast, so I go through every Monday morning. It's available.
Yes, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So where can our listeners find you?
Well, you can find me on iTunes and Spotify.
And what's the name of your?
Wake Up with KC.
Love it. I was just listening to one of your episodes, actually.
And
It was great. It was great. I loved it.
it gets even better. But I'm being real. I'm being my authentic self and expressing my concepts, my theories. You don't have to believe it or not. But if you're at a point in your life right now that you want answers, you want truth too, then let my show be a stepping stone to help you along your way. And I do give readings, I coach. So I offer that as well as, something
It's great.
I provide, but I love being able to just share what I've learned in order to help others. I think my mess is my message to help others.
Thank you so much for just teaching us all this stuff and for sharing your life with us. And I'm so glad that you saw that moment in that abusive relationship that just clicked and you're like, there's got to be more.
Yeah.
Thank you for being so courageous.
5 or episode 6? No, it's episode 6. It won't come on until November next month. But if you just keep subscribe and download. You can listen to it anytime. And I do talk about my mess and my message. I just started at the first half of it. And then the next episode, I'm going to start the spiritual journey, the things that I somewhat shared with you. There's going to be more to it on the next episode after episode 6.
Fantastic.
So yeah,
That's
I'm
great.
excited. I got like really raw and very open.
But that's what helps, right? That's what helps people when they listen is the truth.
Yeah,
And we all have that.
And we're all ready to hear the truth because we're tired of the bullshit. We're tired of the lies and the deceit. And now I think energetically, human beings are ready to enough of this. I'm not into violence. I'm not into loitering, or I believe in another way. And it's part of the program. We're not awakened from the program yet. So it's like, if you guys, because when you create such a negative energy like that collectively, we do affect our planet, and it affects us all collectively. That's one thing that I want to help others understand about that. If we don't change, it's going to keep happening, and it's just going to keep getting worse. And I don't want that, not for anyone, and not for the planet that I live on, because there's future generations coming, not just my own future generation, but there's your future generation and your future generations. What can we do to make it better for them?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's make the world a little more peaceful, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. It was an honor to have you today. And, I appreciate you've given me some insights to a couple things. So I really do appreciate that, and sharing your vulnerability and your story with us as well.
Well, Nelia? I wanted to say Nelia for
That's okay.
Nelia, if you want more guidance, just contact me.
Excellent. And if I can help you in any way too, come back on.
Absolutely. I definitely want the pictures and stuff from what you did for the music thing.
Okay, great.
I love music and I love art, so I could get my creative juices going intuitively to.
That's wonderful. I want to go back and definitely want to make it a bit bigger. So,
let's see what the spirit guides want to say.
Yeah,
I will be more than happy to have a session with you just to find out what to do next.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, darling.
I hope this helped. I know it helped you get some clarity, and I hope it gives your audience something to help them, guide them. And you can get a hold of me at awaken to be you on Instagram if they have questions or listen to my podcast. Good things coming.
Yeah, thank you. And I was really excited about our interview today because, like I said, we all have this epiphany moment. And I know when mine was, where I was just like, there's got to be more. So I was very interested in what you had to say. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, please subscribe or leave a review. See you next week on the Giving Starts With You podcast.